Here comes two generations of the Nye family.
I don't
Oh, so got you guys an umbrella? Great. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
very much. I brought this in case I get cold.
I was born in New Brunswick, in St. John, in the General Hospital on the 17th of July in 1935. I lived just outside of the city for the first 6 years of my life. We had a cow. I moved to Nova Scotia. My parents were brought up in Lockport, and I'm a blue noser, I guess. I smell like it, I feel like it, I think like it.
A CBC color presentation.
Indignation and satisfaction as Canada takes a stand on international hockey and loses the World Tournament. A second look at strip mining in the West, where the biggest changes are in the landscape. And a return to the Chappaquiddick Bridge, where an inquest prepares to make the final ruling on a girl's death and maybe on a politician's career. I'm Lloyd Robertson, and this is CBC Weekend, Sunday edition.
Is threatening man's next mission to the moon. Dr. Charles Berry, Director of Medical Operations, said today all three Apollo 13 astronauts were exposed yesterday to German measles. Berry said the crew, James Lovell, Thomas Mattingly, and Fred Hayes, are now in good physical condition, but the results of tests for German measles will not be known until Wednesday.
Likely place for Soviet submarines. I'm sure they would pitch in and rescue these men. But the Russians have been pretty open about that kind of thing recently, by the way. They returned part of what was apparently the Apollo 9 lunar module Bob Run referred to earlier. They returned that to us a few weeks ago.
Power down we're about to do, will we have enough to make it? The answer came back, yes, just barely.
This little base recorder has been a big benefit to us in passing through the time away in our transit out to the moon. And it's rather odd to see it floating like this in Odyssey while it's playing the theme from 2001.
April 13th, 1970. The mood could only be described as relaxed. Apollo 13, man's fifth lunar mission. The third scheduled to land on the moon, continued its tranquil coast.
This is the crew of Apollo 13, wishing everybody there a nice evening, and we're preparing to close out our inspection of Aquarius and get back to a pleasant evening at Odyssey. Good night.
13, we've got one more item for you when you get a chance. We'd like you to stir up your cryo tanks. In addition, I have Shaft and Trunnion for a look at the Comet Bennett if you need it.
Okay, stand by. Okay, Houston, we've had a problem here.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
Yes, Houston, we've had a problem. We've had a main B bus undervolt.
Roger, main B undervolt. Okay, stand by, 13. We're looking at it.
And we had a pretty large bang associated with the caution and warning there. And as I recall, main B was the one that had a amp spike on it once before. In the interim here, we're starting to go ahead and button up the tunnel again.
Kind of society that you live in.
Well, there's a lot of bleeding hearts around who just don't like to see people with helmets and guns. All I can say is go on and bleed, but it's more important to keep law and order in this society than to be worried about weak-kneed people who don't like the looks of a soldier.
At any cost? At any cost? How far would you go with that? How far would you extend that?
Well, just watch me. I am speaking to you at a moment of grave crisis, when violent and fanatical men are attempting to destroy the unity and the freedom of Canada. One aspect of that crisis is the threat which has been made on the lives of two innocent men. These are matters of the utmost gravity, and I want to tell you what the government is doing to deal with them. What has taken place in Montreal in the past 2 weeks is not unprecedented. It has happened elsewhere in the world on several recent occasions. It could happen elsewhere within Canada. But Canadians have always assumed that it could not happen here, and as a result, we are doubly shocked that it has. Our assumption may have been naive, but it was understandable. Understandable because democracy flourishes in Canada. Understandable because individual liberty is cherished in Canada.
Hier Tiger Doom, Diet Coffee, Crisp.
Tack we berjuti kaffe.
Crisp.
Nemen ze hier een café? Crisp. Ze maken hier een café, Crisp.
Ja, ik maak mijn koffie crisp. Hier Tiger Doom, Diet Coffee, Crisp.
Tack we berjuti kaffe.
Crisp.
Nemen ze hier een café? Crisp. Ze maken hier een café, Crisp.
Ja, ik maak mijn koffie crisp. Crispy wafer biscuit, crunchy when you bite. Nice bubbly center, coffee flavored right. Smooth yummy coating, ground free special lack. Coffee crisp, that's a nice like snack.
I've had other small cars in the past, but so I kind of knew what I wanted in a car.
Former import owner Beth Diamond switched to Pinto.
As soon as I saw the Pinto, I was knocked out with it. I feel like I'm in a luxury car. I don't feel I'm in a little car. I love all the windows around me. I love the four on the floor. And I'm just pretty knocked out with the car.
Just ask Beth about Pinto quality.
I love it.
See your Ford dealer.
Okay, sir, we're asking people what they thought of the election results last night. Now, what do you think?
Very, very pleased. I'm glad that son of a got a kick that Frenchman. He deserved it.
Now, why do you feel that way?
Because he's been very, very disappointing to me. I've been a Liberal all my life. I certainly didn't vote for him this time. No, no.
But I think a majority of people are a big backlash against the Liberal Party, and not quite enough people voted against the Liberals. I think that's all the election was, a vote against the Liberals. And I think that if they go to the polls again, I think we'll have a majority government, and it'll be probably the Conservatives.
Do you think it was something personal or more general issues that put people's backs up?
I think it was mostly unemployment. And I think you'll see another election in another 6 months.
What do you think was responsible for the massive gains by the Conservatives?
Well, probably the Trudeau government just not doing anything for the average worker in the last 4.5 years.
The bread and butter issues seem to be the ones that everyone is concerned about, and fine foreign policy and rearmament and all this kind of thing is very idealistic. But if you haven't got a job or you can't feed your family, this kind of thing's pretty important.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Montreal Forum and to this first game of an 8-game series between the national team of the Soviet Union and the Canada team. Mesdames et messieurs, voici maintenant les arbitres.
Shooting it down the ice. As they're a man short, you're allowed to do it. Sliding pass goes down the ice, but Havlich comes racing up. Here's a shot at Tetri. Line over to Yakushev. The drive is wide.
Clear pass on the far side. The goal one to Savard. Savard cleared the pass. People running clear to the overwing of Cornwallis. Cornwallis took a shot. The defense fell over the action.
So on this video here, I wanted to share this 1973 Canada banknote that I picked up.
And here they are, ladies and gentlemen, the 28 contestants for the title of Miss Canada 1973. Tonight is the crowning event in a search that's been going on all across the country during this past year. From the Maritimes to the West Coast, preliminary search for Miss Canada contests have taken place.
Mr. Diefenbaker, the last time a government was defeated was your government in 1963. How do you feel about what's been going on there this afternoon?
The question I wanted to ask the government was simply this. This
this House is over. This Parliament is ended. And I wanted to ask them whether they would follow the constitutional principle that no appointments will be made between now and Election Day.
It's that time of year again, NHL playoff time. And with the race for the Stanley Cup already underway, CBC brings you the crucial games of the NHL's elimination rounds. Tomorrow night we see the Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Los Angeles Kings live from Toronto's Maple Leaf Gardens. Game time 8 o'clock Eastern Time, tomorrow night on CBC.
CBC Radio.
A stylized M and maple leaf symbolize metric conversion in Canada. This symbol identifies metric materials and products. For further information on...
Prince Andrew bounded down the gangplank to meet his brothers. Prince Charles gave some friendly advice to young Edward. Be careful about talking when reporters are around.
Goes off for tripping at 12:56. You'll see it here.
Here's Steve Shutt trying to spin to get the loose puck from the draw. Malupa takes the skates from under him. Good penalty.
On the face-off, Potvin against the boards for Bobby Hull. Hull having trouble controlling it, and out to center ice it comes for Bobby Orr. Orr to Esposito is working on the power play. Back to Hull, and it hopped over his stick, and Martinez for Czechoslovakia. Martinez feeding it back to Augusta. Back to the Czechoslovakian blue line, Makat sending it into Team Canada territory, and Bobby Orr. Team Canada leading 2-0. Esposito on the power play. Out over his own line. Over for Bobby Orr. Orr hits the line. Orr getting skating room. Orr going right in. He shoots. He scores! Bobby Orr, and they just let him go until he had that great goal-scoring opportunity.
Well, Bobby Orr used Phil Esposito as a decoy. The Czechoslovakian team gave him too much room.
Listen to this crowd.
It's a difficult question in these circumstances, but could you talk a little about business of beating the addiction?
Yeah, it's a lot easier to get on it than it is to get off it.
When you're at Canada Safeway, stop. And in that one trip, get all your photo needs for New Year's. Film, flashbulbs, everything. At the same time, drop off your Christmas pictures for processing. Canada Safeway, more than a food store.
Ford of Canada's DuraGuard system, our commitment to you. A year ago, we demonstrated Ford's protective vinyl coating to show you its effectiveness in reducing paint damage caused by stone chipping. We've extended its use this year. Now every 1978 North American-built Ford of Canada car has even more protection from stone chipping. Here's another step in Ford of Canada's DuraGuard system. Electrocoating is applied to almost all of our 1978 cars sold in Canada. The car body is dipped into primer paint, and the body sheet metal and the primer are given opposite electrical charges. The primer is attracted to the metal, and hard-to-reach nooks and crannies are better protected from rust corrosion. The DuraGuard system is standard with every 1978 North American-built Ford and Lincoln Mercury car sold in Canada, and is backed by a no-extra-charge 36-month unlimited distance warranty against rust perforation. The DuraGuard system. At Ford, we're committed to quality, reliability, and durability, and to you.
Many traditionally male domains have in recent years opened their doors to women. But in Canada, there was one group that held out until a Human Rights Commission ruling this year forced it to change its ways. Bruce Cameron reports.
For the past 20 years, this changing the guard ceremony on Parliament Hill has been made up exclusively of men. Mainly summer students, they were also potential combat troops. The Canadian Defence Policy says women can't be involved in combat. But this year, underneath those furry busbies are 11 women. The women are here only because a complaint was laid before the Canadian Human Rights Commission last summer. The Commission ruled that an all-male guard discriminated against women who wanted the summer jobs. But the Defense Department still didn't want to put women into combat. The deal eventually worked out was to have the Guards turned into a purely ceremonial unit. Most of its members, the men, still come from other militia units, but the women just join the Guards. A compromise that's left everyone happy. It's not easy work. The constant drilling caused 2 members of the 180-person Guard to faint during this evening's opening ceremony, both male. But military tradition requires that the ceremony go on. And that's what'll be happening here every day for the rest of the summer.
Well, let's talk specifics, Joe. Yeah. Sure. Would you agree with Premier Lougheed when he wants to limit the federal trade and commerce power?
I wouldn't agree with him on that, but what I would do,
all right, you wouldn't, so you'd have a disagreement.
Just a second.
And you've just said you'd
have disagreements. Of course you'd have disagreements.
What's different between you and me? You said you would, just now you changed your position. You said you wouldn't agree with Premier Buchanan on fisheries. You'd said the contrary down in Halifax, but now you said you wouldn't.
That, with respect, sir, is not correct. I didn't say the contrary in Halifax.
You wouldn't transfer jurisdiction over fisheries to the provinces, is that right? You would not?
Of course I would. For the 700th time, I would not. What I would do. What I would do.
So then you disagree with them. You'd be like me.
This is a sick baby production.
2021. Oh.
Don't worry, he survives.